Welcome to Fear and Greed Summer Investing Series, brought to you by Vanta, specialists in compliance-led growth. I'm Sean Aylmer. Mexican-themed restaurant chain Guzman y Gomez arrived with a bang on the ASX last year, exceeding all expectations. But at the same time, some other restaurants in the same area didn't do so well. Domino's, one of the sector's stalwarts, is under all kinds of pressure, both here and overseas. Throw into the mix Collins Foods, the company behind 270-odd KFC restaurants in Australia, and it's a fascinating sector for investors. As always, this is general information only, and you should seek independent advice before making investment decisions. Ben Gilbert is the head of Australian research at Jarden. Ben, welcome back to Fear and Greed.
Thanks very much, Sean. Great to be here.
Ben, how do you look at the QSR sector, quick service restaurant sector, when you have high flyers like Guzman, but then other Domino's and Collins who really have struggled over the past 12 months?
It's a very good question, Sean, and I think it's one that a lot of investors and myself are still grappling and thinking about as we're looking forward from here. Look, I think in some industries it's good to be a challenger, some it's not. There comes a point of scale when concepts start to be proven up and people get excited. And look, I think we've seen a bit of a case of that in Australia. Guzman has obviously been a phenomenal success from a share price perspective since it's come on. Similarly, its comp trends in terms of like-for-like sales, what it's generating out of the same store year on year, have been super strong and outperformed the peer set. The share price has reflected that. You flick to the other end of the spectrum and you've got Domino's that's been under enormous pressure, a function of the fact probably that it's overcomplicated its business a little bit in recent years. It's in Japan, it's probably pushed out too many stores, issues around minimum wage in the Netherlands, etc. And then you've got a management change to boot more recently. Look, I think Collins has just probably been subject to just some challenges in terms of the pace at which it wants to grow, and a backdrop where some of the incumbents have probably got their pricing positions wrong, albeit that is now starting to change. The question is, moving forward, I think can Domino's and Collins get some of that mojo back and close the gap to Guzman? And that'll be the key question, I think, as we look forward from here.
Okay, so Domino's has always been one of my favourite stocks because it did so well. It had a very high-profile CEO who, as you just mentioned, is stepping down, Don May. What's the way forward for Domino's at this point? Because it's got new management, it's got a chair which has a huge shareholding in the company, and he is certainly a very highly regarded businessman. But what do they do when they've got all these problems in Europe and Japan?
Yeah, look, I think it's just a bit of a back to basics approach. I think you sit there and say, okay, where are our good stores? What's doing well? What do the customers love about us? Let's put that in front of them, do it consistently. Let some of these stores that maybe weren't trading as strongly as they should because we've rolled out too many start trading up, get to a point where maybe not over trading, but you create some pent up demand in the system. You start seeing profitability from franchisees lift, and then ultimately that builds confidence, which then starts getting the whole store network and innovation pipeline moving again. Now, that takes time. We've been through a multitude of changes and announcements in terms of this strategy reset over the last 18 months, from store closures to cost out to management change to changes in pricing strategy, all this sorts of stuff. Ideally, I think from a market perspective, we'd like to rip the Band-Aid and see that happen all at once, but it hasn't. And look, I think that's obviously been to the detriment of the share price. In theory now, we've potentially got one more event we've got to wait for. We've got to see, once the new CEO fully gets his feet under the desk, albeit has been consulting for 12 months, is there going to be a strategy reset? I don't think that there will, owing to the fact that he has been consulting, but I do think there's probably going to be a more concerted approach around cost and return on capital. And look, being a QSR operator that are capital light businesses, if we can get confidence around that, there's a material opportunity for this company to re-rate and perform well over the next 12 plus months.
What about Collins Foods then, Taco Bell's as well as KFC in this country? What's the outlook for them?
Yeah, so Collins is a little bit different from Domino's. Collins is a store operator and dealing with Yum in Australia, who is the master franchise. Similarly, they've got a new master franchise in Germany that they're engaging with. So they're a little bit more beholden to others from a strategic and a marketing lens. Now, that's not to say that it's still not a phenomenal business and has a massive opportunity to generate significant returns, because it does. But I think what we've seen is that some of the competitive or pricing architecture that's been put into these categories, and look, McDonald's has been in the same boat. I think well publicised, there's been some challenges around breakfast and some of these other menus, is getting their pricing, their marketing strategy right. And I think what we've started to see more recently is that is coming through. And you saw that in the comp trends from their result towards the end of last year, whereby you started to see same-store sales in Australia improve. So that's a tick, but it needs to keep going. And if that does accelerate to 3, 4, 5%, the leverage, i.e. the generating revenue over a cost base, it means that profit should grow much more quickly, is enormous. Germany, in terms of what's happening over there, is more about, I think, getting their new master franchise engaged, well, not engaged, it's the wrong word, is getting that plan around rollout moving forward. And again, that provides a big opportunity. Look, Netherlands, I think, is improving. It's had some big minimum wage increases. So I think, again, lots of opportunities there, potentially more for Domino's, given where it's come from. But I do think similar opportunities for Collins as well.
Ben, thanks for joining the Fear and Greed Summer Investing Series.
Thank you very much.
That was Ben Gilbert, Head of Australian Research at Jarden. Remember to get your own independent advice before making any investment decisions. This is Fear and Greed's Summer Investing Series, brought to you by Vanta. Vanta automates compliance for frameworks like ISO 27001, SOC 2, CPS 234 and Essential 8, saving time and money while building trust. Join over 8,000 companies like Atlassian, Dovetail and FireAnt, managing real-time risk. Get $1,000 off at vanta.com/fearandgreed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.